Welcome to another El Cachorro movie reviews. This, I believe, was our first one for 2025. Our first big blockbuster came out here on Valentine's Day. Happy Valentine's Day if you have someone. My Valentine's Day gift was I took myself to see Captain America: Brave New World. A movie. It's been kind of in the crosshairs of a lot of people because it's been a lot of turmoil, a lot of delays, a lot of reshoots. So people, use that as automatic fuel to hate the movie and hate on. Like I read an IMDb, a couple IMDb reviews that sound like the people didn't even review the movie, or actually see the movie. I mean, so it's probably going to get a lot of crap because hating on things is what's popular in the world these days. It's cooler to hate something. Hate videos getting way more likes than like videos. It's kind of a sad thing that it's kind of sad. That's the state of the world we live in. One review I heard is like, you could tell it was a fake review because he's taking a line from the trailer, the "You're no Steve Rogers" line from the trailer, and he's associating it with being about the race and the Capt America's back. Then, if you watch the actual movie, when he says the line, it's totally referring to the fact that Sam has refused to take the super serum. He's waved it off. He's declined it. I couldn't think of the word. That's what the actual line in the movie ended up being about. So sorry, your review is bullshit if you're trying to act like it was about something else. Wasn't trying to compare him to Steve Rogers or anything like that. It was just saying he's not like Steve Rogers because he doesn't have the super serum. So he's trying to tell you can't, you can't do everything. But we digress. So where did I fall in on this movie? Before I've seen any reviews or anything like that, really, I was just saw a few on IMDb. I give it a 7. I think it was a very solid movie. It's a good action movie. It's got a pretty solid story to it. One of the better storylines I think we've had since Endgame. I mean, sorry, if you look at some of the MCU movies, even some of the ones that people have loved, they're not that good story-wise. The Spider-Man No Way Home, the story for that was stupid as could be. I mean, Doctor Strange starts doing the spells like, oh, you asked about getting a review or talk to somebody. Oh, I could do that? Wait, you didn't do that? Wouldn't you have had that conversation before you started automatically going right into doing the spell? Or forget who Peter Parker is. Wouldn't you have everybody forget who Spider-Man is? Then you could kind of bring Spider-Man back out again. I mean, Peter Parker has books, pictures, yearbooks, all kinds of stuff out there that shows that he exists. So yeah, that makes you saying he don't exist kind of makes no sense. Eternals had 2 stories combined into one. We started with one story about a deviant that was evolving and taking people's powers. And all of a sudden, they just dropped that whole script, and that became a sub story, and it became Icarus is evil. They're all robots, and the Earth is about to blow up. So they completely just changed stories halfway through. I like the Doctor Strange movie, but its story was also kind of popular one from last year, Wolverine and Deadpool. Great acting, great storytelling, great acting, great performances, great cameos, fun action, all that stuff was good. The story for that movie was absolutely trash. So, sorry, the story was not good. It had a dumb story. Just trying to weasel its way into the MCU somehow or another. So, but the story was pretty weak. This has got a good sort of story behind it. We got the overlaying story of, obviously, first off, the prerequisites to see for this movie you need to be familiar with is The Incredible Hulk and Eternals. At least how those movies ended. So the overlying story is the nations of the world are all going after the dead body of the Celestial because they have found that it has this new magical element in it, which I won't reveal right here. If you did your homework, you probably heard. I think it's been released. I think they announced somewhere, it was on Twitter or something like that, what it was going to be. It's a very important element for the future of the MCU. So we got the overlying character of all these nations, but about to go to war over it. Underlying story is it's about redemption and revenge. So it's pretty solid. So I thought the story actually, for it was a decent story for a Marvel that we've had for a Marvel. It's the best one we've had since Guardians of the Galaxy 3. Which I'm sorry, I think that movie had a really good story too. And then so we had good acting performances here, the good action scenes. You get 3 cameos really. One's a major role in the picture. If you did any homework, you already know they're in the picture. They redesigned the way the character looked from the comic. And this character looks wonky, but the comic book version of the character, to be fair, is also really stupid looking. So I don't think there was any way of winning that one. At least they didn't give him the personality that they have in the comic books, which is highly annoying, or when they've been seen in cartoons. Another cameo happens that you're not shocked by it. And then there's a third cameo towards the end that is a great reveal of a character that everybody's always wanted to see them make their return. So one post-credit scene is at the very, very end, and I think this might be one of the ones that has some reshoots because they probably had to reshoot this post-credit scene so many times because they have to keep changing. It's supposed to be like kind of teasing the future, what's coming ahead, and they keep changing their mind with they're doing the Kang stuff, and now they flipped over the Doctor Doom stuff, and they just can't make up their mind where they're planning on going, and that's the problem with that. So we only get the one. Personally, I would have preferred to be something else, but we'll talk about that in the spoilers as well. So like the villain's character design is the only thing that kind of like was to me about, but I've had a really solid time with this movie. I'm giving it a 7. It's a good fun watch. Which a 7 is, obviously 5 is just a blah movie. 6 is okay, it's okay, and then 7 is okay, it was a good movie. 8's obviously great. 9, anything over 9 is awesome. Like Godzilla -1 is close to a 10. Dune's a 9. The Infinity Gauntlet's 8.5, 9 territory. So yeah, none's gonna top that stuff. Everyone's got to get off the fact they hit a peak with Infinity War and Endgame. That was supposed to be a 20-year build up for that peak. So then you got to slide back down to do another build up. Unfortunately, they've had to change where they're building up to now, which I could talk about in another place there. I'm not really a big fan of their future plans. Part of it I like, then part of it I don't. That's off the topic. So is it worth seeing? Yes, it's worth seeing. I mean, it was a good fun movie. Let's break it down some more. All right, so you can see it's IMDb ratings hanging about a 6, so a little lower than what I gave it. But like I said, some of these reviews on there were trash. Obviously, we know we have Anthony Mackie playing Sam Wilson again, returning his character. Harrison Ford has been as President Theodus Ross. They had good God, President Thunderbolt Ross, we'll call him. Recast the character from William Hurt, who passed away. The other returning people are we don't go too far. Isaiah Bradley, played by Carl Lindley, he makes his return from the show, the Falcon and Winter Soldier show. That kind of gives away some things there. We got a new Falcon, Danny Ramirez. I'm not sure if he's been in anything before. And Shira Haas plays a security officer who supposedly was a former Black Widow in the Widow program. So I think our casting works. He's kind of iffy on him. I guess now we kind of got to get into spoiler territory of this a little bit. So if you got the rating, it's a 7. It's worth watching. Go see it. Now, if you want me to go now for the people who don't care about spoilers. Our first big reveal is Tim Blake Nelson reprises his role as Samuel Stearns from The Incredible Hulk. This was already kind of revealed everywhere. So, I mean, if you're online, he's the leader. Never calls himself the leader in this movie at all. But he's got this weird design. He's kind of green. He's got like really funky looking head. They didn't go with the big giant dome like he has in the comics, which I said that. Like I said, that's a pretty dumb looking look. That looks stupid to begin with. So they kind of came up with something. It's kind of weird looking, but like I said, there's only so much you can do with. It's kind of weird that is the main villain for a Captain America movie. Both of these characters, we obviously know Harrison Ford is going to become the Red Hawk, are characters you would like to have seen interact with Hawk. So it's disappointing that we don't get that. Giancarlo Esposito plays Sidewinder, just like a minor villain kind of character. So it's kind of not as big of the characters as the trailers kind of gave on. I mean, I don't know if they're going to reveal the other two cameos or not in here. They don't. All right, so at least they protected the other cameos. So that's our cast. As I said, the cast is pretty good in the movie. I mean, he can be a little bit annoying, but overall, it's pretty. The cast job was pretty good. I don't know if they have like a budget yet on there or not. So the budget, So all right. So now we're getting the spoilers. So the overall is that the world is after the body of the Celestial. I don't want to get copyright claimed or anything like that from that. Because they found that there's a new element inside the Celestial's body, and it's an element that is stronger than vibranium. It's an element very important for everyone's favorite clawed mutant. Adamantium has now entered the MCU. So this will lead way to possibly the MCU. It's kind of weird because I don't know if they plan on introducing mutants to this MCU or if they're going to do their Secret Wars Battle World and then boom, now restart everything with mutants. So I don't know how they're planning on doing things, but this would be the stuff that would be necessary to introduce Wolverine into the MCU. Yes, we have a Wolverine in the MCU. Hugh Jackman is in the MCU technically. He is technically from other universes though, so he's not this universe's Wolverine. So this would be the first building block for the Wolverine for the MCU, which is where I thought one of the post-credit scenes would have been really cool if it was what is the Canadian group that Experimental Wolverine Project? I can't remember their name. With the Program H or something like that. That Alpha Flight and all them in the Canadian military and stuff was all connected to, or something with Canada. Because I'm assuming it was it's mostly considered Canada is what made it home in the Wolverine. There was a Canada experiment up there. Somebody was a scientist up there just doing that stuff. But kind of cool seeing those like the building blocks for the Wolverine. For Wolverine, would have been a cool cameo, or for post credit scenes. I mean, just having like somebody acquiring the adamantium. Instead, we get at a crosshair screen. It's just supposed to be like hinting that they're about a battle world, multiple worlds colliding, kind of something like that. Which would kind of indicate, I guess, that our RDJ Doom is going to be from another different universe. Obviously, the way that movie sounds, so that movie I'm very questionable about. But so we have the worlds all like coming together over adamantium. President Ross is trying to do a peace treaty for everyone to work together, and it's his big thing for his future. He's trying to change the thing about him because he's been known for all of his things from the past. The hawk hunting stays to obviously this is where it talks about Hawk and Abomination fighting and destroying, I guess, some part of New York in the end of the movie. To some of his interactions that he's had with the Accords, with the Avengers, and all that stuff. So he's trying to redeem himself, trying to do good and redeem his image. We find out that they did this, I think the first time in the MCU we've had to bring up his daughter, Betty Ross, and that she's not talked to him in years because from the incidents of what happened. So he's trying to show her. So he's trying to redeem himself. So along the way, this other lying plot keeps going. Somebody tried to steal some adamantium. Capt America had to get it back. They do the big thing at the White House where then a bunch of people get mind controlled into attacking the president, including Isaiah, the old Captain Super Soldier that was like experimented on and thrown in jail and stuff like that. So Cap's trying to clear his name, and tensions are growing, and we're there's underlined that there's this underlying character running everything, and we find out it's Samuel Stearns, the leader, who's been kept in a off-site prison, but given special access because we find out later that Ross had a heart condition, was dying, and he needed the leader to save his life, and of course, so promised him that he would give him a pardon and everything that once he ever become president, and he became president and didn't hold in his end of the bargain. So the leader is now revolting and stuff, trying to destroy Ross because his whole motivation is destroy Ross. And so he's doing everything he can to make Ross, trying to get Ross to lose his anger, let his anger out, because his cure for the heart was these pills that are slowly giving him gamma feeds to turns it where he gets that's how he becomes a Red Hawk. He's been sneakily getting these gamma injections or swallowing gamma that's infused into him. And so it was like, like I said, we got that everything going back and forth. So it's, like I said, some pretty interesting stories that are not bad at all there. You have the people fighting for independence. Everybody's been wanting to know what's going on. Why is nobody reacting to this dead celestial in the boat coming out of the earth? Well, this movie answers that, brings that up. They tie up that loose string. But then when they get the other stories, like Ross trying to show that he's good now. He's not the bad guy he used to be, but slowly gets other powers slowly force him into losing his cool, and then that turns him into the monster. Meanwhile, there's a new Falcon. He's trying to impress Sam, and his bravery at one point causes him to get hurt, which leads to a scene where we see Bucky, our second cameo, makes an appearance. Not surprising. He's like, oh yeah, they tie together. Supposedly he's running for Congress, which is interesting because I don't know how that's going to tie into the Thunderbolts that's coming up soon. But so we mentioned something about running for Congress. Interacting, the president had a special bodyguard, which was what is her name? Ruth. Like I said, she's an ex-Red Room associate, so an ex-widow. And at first, she's like trying to go against Captain America. She's trying to, supposed to be doing the president's bidding, so she's supposed to be trying to stop Captain America from doing his stuff, but ended up realizing that Captain America is right and everything. There's some weird going on, so she joins forces with him. So they almost get to a point where this war breaks out almost between America and Japan. So that's a big action sequence we have there. It fails, and at that point, that's where the leader's desperate for his plot to go. So he kind of like does something. He turns himself in. So like it's kind of it's another anticlimactic thing with the villain. It's kind of like they did with Zemo. Zemo just kind of like, hey, kill me, whatever. I give up. The leader just kind of like gives up and turns himself in. But he put his last plan in place that ends up getting Ross to lose it and turn into the Red Hawk. But before that, we do get a phone call. The president gets a phone call from his daughter, and they kind of reconnect a little bit. So, all right, cool. So we can finally get a little Betty Ross. But it leads to our big climactic fight, which is Falcon versus the Red Hawk. He's trying to get the Red Hawk to try different ways to beat the Red Hawk, or try to get him to calm down. Didn't work. Then he goes back. Well, once he finally gets to the last straw, he just like, hey, man. He appeals to him. He gets him to calm down. He gets him to turn back into human. And he gets put on the raft. He gives it. So supposedly we cut to where he's on the cell on the raft. He gave up his presidency. He accepted all blame actions, and he's doing the right thing, showing he changed, he's accepting his punishment. And then Liv Tyler shows up as Betty Ross. So finally, Betty Ross has reappeared and has come back. But doesn't have anything to do with the Hawk. Hawk characters, but no Hawk. And then the post-credit scene is also in the raft with the leader saying other heroes are coming and everyone's going to collide and worlds are going to fight, kind of thing. So that's the synopsis of pretty much the movie. And as quick as possible, so the video's not too long. Like I said, it's pretty, everything's pretty solid. Everything works. And instead of the over-top, this I command because I am the leader, he's more downspoken. He's more like probability speech. Wow, that had a 77% chance that you were going to do that. I had an 89% chance that you were going to bring this person here. So he like just kind of talks like how you think Reed Richards would kind of talk, but it doesn't sound like Reed Richards is going to talk like that if you saw the trailer for Fantastic Four. And he's like, "Oh, we have family dinner every Sunday." That's not a Reed Richards kind of sound thing. Reed Richards is the science nerd who just never stops to, Sue would always have to yell at him like, "English, Reed, talk English." So I'm very iffy about that movie. The trailers has not given me good hopes for that movie. So Thunderbolts is looking a lot better after the first trailer for it. So they're off to a good start here. I think the next thing we'll get is the Daredevil show, which looks amazing. So that should be fun to watch too. Then see if Thunderbolts is able to hold its own. And then I think there's something else, another show in the summer. And then we get to Crazy July, where we got Jurassic World, Superman, and Fantastic Four, along with some other side movies like Megan 2. I Know What You Did That Summer, The Naked Gun, 28 Years Later. Why all that stuff's coming out at the same time is I don't know. I think somebody did move back into August a little bit to get behind everything. Smart move. I think there's a Smurfs movie too coming out there too. So everything is like jamming in the 1 month for some strange reason. So we'll see what dust settles there. I'm still saying Superman is my most anticipated movie. The trailer for that really hit hard. Jurassic World the trailer for that looked really good. The Fantastic Four just looked kind of I don't think I love Pedro Pascal, but I don't know about him as Reed Richards. I don't think he's going to give us the Reed we expect Reed to be. And the Thing's voice didn't feel right to me either. It's too soft, kind of. They went with a different type of New York accent. Thing's supposed to be, a tough guy, a Bronx tough guy, and the scene they showed may not have been the best part then. Like the voice I heard the Thing talking about, you gotta put a little garlic in, a little paprika, what's he gonna say? It's clobbering time, yeah? That's not gonna sound right. It's supposed to be it's clobbering time. I do not see I don't see that line coming from the voice that we heard for that trailer so far. But that's for a movie in the future. I should have made videos about the trailers actually, but I didn't. I might do that. But so we start off, bam, out of the way. I'm not sure what movie is next. I don't know if there's anything else in February to look forward to or not. Might be a couple horror movies to keep an eye out for. I think usually there's some couple horror movies that come out in February. But I'm not sure if I have any. And I'm not sure if there's anything in March either. So this year, until we get to the middle of the year, is not too heavy in the movies that I can think of off the top of my head. I might be missing something. But we will wrap this video up. Solid movie, worth watching. Give it a shot. Until next time, Cachorro out.